I'd like to call this meeting of the City of Elkhorn Common Council to order. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I forgot to get on the record that it's April 7th, 2025 at 5:30. Can we have roll call, please?
Tim Sherwood,
Here.
Peter Harvey,
Here.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Here.
Ron Dunwoody is absent, Scott McClory,
Here.
Ken Minell,
Here.
Kurt Hartnett.
Here. Okay, thank you. We've got public comment next. I'm going to read my little paragraph here, and then anyone that would like to speak can come up to the podium and give your name and address, and you get 3 minutes to speak. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes each. The public may speak on any item of city concern, whether or not the topic is included on this agenda. However, if the topic does not pertain to an item listed on the council agenda, the council is not permitted to address or discuss the matter during this meeting. Under open meeting laws, the council must notice an item on the agenda to allow discussion on that matter. If the council is not permitted to discuss your concerns, your comments will be considered and may be placed on a future agenda for further discussion. So do we have anyone here that would like to speak?
Hello, I'm here on about the Westward Drive, no sidewalks. And at the last meeting, they had said that they wanted everyone's opinion. Me and my mom had went around the neighborhood and did a petition to see how many people would possibly want no sidewalks and their opinions. There were 37 addresses on the block of Westward Drive. I did not do Franklin. I just figured that was totally different street. But there were 37 addresses. 29 out of the 37 said no sidewalks. 3 said yes to sidewalks. 2 didn't really persuade either way. They could take it or leave it either way. 1 was undecided at the time, and 2 couldn't get a hold of, so 2 of the residents I did not talk to. So out of the 37 addresses on Westward Drive, 29 were for no sidewalks. And I know there's a decent amount of people here too that are for no sidewalks, and see what they say. And one of the addresses, they were unable to come due to work, 266 Westward Drive, and their yard has 3 massive trees in the front yard that they do not want to get cut down. They want to remain, have the trees remain. So they wanted me to voice for them that they do not want sidewalks because they want to keep their trees and not have their trees get cut down. So I just wanted to share my findings, and hopefully we don't get sidewalks. Thank you.
Amanda, can we get your name and address for the
Oh,
record?
I'm sorry. Amanda Bedard at 232 Westward Drive. Thank you.
Mary Beth Cousin, 273 Westward Drive, and I'm here to speak about no sidewalks as well. I bought my house on Westward Drive 15 years ago because I knew as I was getting older, I would not want to have sidewalks to deal with for snow and other issues. Also, I go out walking all the time. There are many places around the area that do not have sidewalks. Also, some places that have sidewalks, the sidewalks are just as hazardous, or more so maybe than walking in the street, because they're buckled, they have cracks and chips. When you get to the intersection, the sidewalk slopes down, the curb is up several inches. So for safety reasons, some of the sidewalks are not very safe. So I would not want to see sidewalks. So I'm here to say, please don't put sidewalks in. Save the city money, save the taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kyle Adams. I live at 227 Westward Drive. We just bought our house about 2 years ago here in Elkhorn, and one of the things we liked that there was no sidewalks when we bought on that street. You know, and thinking about it, we don't see many kids really walk down the street at all. And then my biggest concern if sidewalks do come in, once you move over one more block to invite more people to walk down that road, Centralia is a super busy street. So my suggestion is if you're gonna do westward, you really should do Centralia because you could ultimately bring more traffic that way, if that makes sense. So we are not in agreement to sidewalks, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we say as a resident. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gerald Snyder. I live on Lakeshore Drive outside of Elkhorn, but I own 3 properties on Westward, 206, 208 Westward, 216, 218 Westward, and 220 and 222 Westward. They're 3 duplexes in a row. What I'm opposed to, I'm voting for no sidewalks, but what I'm opposed to is you're gonna take more from the north side of the road than from the south side of the road. As far as, I don't know if you're gonna shift the road over or how that's gonna go, but they said you're gonna take 9.5 feet from the north side, but 7.5 feet from the south side. I don't think that's fair because you're gonna take more property from the people that live on the north side versus the ones that live on the south side. And also, I got that letter and I never heard anything about what the cost is gonna be versus sidewalks versus no sidewalks. Also, you know, people wanna know, you know, what their taxes are gonna be, what they're gonna go up. But I know that you said in the letter something about you're taking bids, so I guess that would come later. But, yeah, I'm opposed to the sidewalks. I don't think it's fair as far as the taking of the property, and the cost will probably, taxes in Elkhorn are already really high, and that's probably just gonna raise the taxes, so I'm opposed to the sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Eric, I'll go after you.
My name is Eric Gefford. I live at 240 Westward Drive. Do you want fries with that? No, we just have a street in disrepair. I've lived there 12 years and enjoyed every year of it, and I've got a unique perspective because our kitchen sink has a window over it overlooking the road, so I watch traffic morning, noon, and night. And it's very limited. You know, there's a lot of people that do walk and walk their dogs, and it looks like there's plenty of elbow room for everybody. I can say in the 12 years I've lived there, I've never seen one car zip along, because I know it's a safety concern of yours. And the people that set up the grid for our block years ago must have thought, one way in, one way out. Church, Franklin, hey, they don't need sidewalks, so let's not put them there. Gentlemen and ladies, thank you.
Hi, my name is Joy Ponte. I live on 267 Westward Drive, and I'm opposed to no sidewalks. I've lived there for over 30 years. We've never had accidents. I raised my boys. They played in the backyard. It's just been a very pleasant place to live, and I don't want traffic. I don't want sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you.
David Zietsma, 201 Westward. Yeah, I have a concern about the parking situation because I have a duplex and we're already packed in there like sardines. And now you're taking away my street parking, which is where 2 of my tenants' daughters park every night. So it's gonna be a hardship. In addition, I'm not an excavator, but it's hard to visualize how you're gonna cut into my property because it's sitting probably 4 feet above the street level and make it so you can still park there and still have a level sidewalk. It just doesn't, I mean, I'm sure if you took enough dirt out of there, you can do whatever, but right now, it doesn't look like it's gonna be too good for me, and I'm gonna be, the two cars are gonna be squashed right up against the house, if we have to stay off the sidewalk. So, that's where I'm at.
Would anyone else like to be heard? Anyone? All right, we'll close public hearing and move on. Next, we've got the consent agenda. If everybody's seen this, there's a pretty good list there. Can we keep these together, or would someone like to divide something out? I'll take a minute to take a look.
I'm fine with keeping them together.
Okay, I am going to, because I enjoy this so much, I'm going to read them to get them on the record. And then we'll proceed after that. So we have the council meeting minutes of 3/17/25. We've got the amendment to public deposits collateralization agreement between the city of Elkhorn and Associated Bank. We've got pay app 4, which is the final one for VisuServe for the 2024 sewer rehab project, mitigation efforts in the amount of $20,013.34. We've got change order number 4 for the 2024 Northeast Water Treatment Plant Water and Sewer Main Extension Project. We've got contract with Water Tower Tank and Coat for $18,300 to repair leak at the Lakeland Water Tower. We've got temporary Class B beer license for the Walworth County Agricultural Society for bull riding on July 4th and 5th, 2025, from 4 to 11 at 411 East Court. We've got a temporary Class B beer license for the Walworth County Agricultural Society for Bacon Fest on June 6th, 2025, from 2 to 11, on June 7th, 2025, from 11 to 10, and June 8th, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 411 East Court, a temporary Class B beer license and a temporary Class B wine for the American Legion Post 45 for a sock hop dance on May 10th, 2025, from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. at 411 East Court. And finally, we've got the purchase of a new copier and printer for the administration offices and new contract for the managed print services.
I'm gonna have an outdated agenda. I don't have a copier project thing on here.
Did we add that late? Okay. So that was added on.
To the consent agenda or the regular agenda? Okay. Long as you got it, I'm good. Long as you, I don't see it, so long as it's there somewhere.
Yeah, I think the confusion was that it got added to the agenda that was posted on the city website, but it did not get recirculated in the
Okay.
updated package to the council, unfortunately.
That's fine.
I remember seeing the copier in the overall packet that I read over the
Right,
weekend.
right. I just didn't see it on the consent agenda.
Right.
And it says the updated, I've got the one that says updated, it doesn't have it either, so.
Correct.
Right.
But it's there,
Okay.
that's what we're looking at.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Scott McCory?
Yes.
Kurt Harkness?
Yes.
Peter Harvey?
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.?
Yes.
Ken Minell?
Yes.
Motion passes. For the mayor's report, I just have some sad news. For those of you that knew John Giese, he passed away. He was the police chief here in Elkhorn for over 20 years. He was a veteran of the Vietnam War and was a staunch advocate for veterans through the VFW mainly, both locally, statewide, and nationally. He was also mayor of Elkhorn and lived his full life in public service. So it's a sad day having him pass. That's all I've got. Adam?
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate you mentioning John Geese. I don't know if you mentioned, yeah, you served 31 years with the PD for Elkhorn, so certainly a long time servant. Just a few updates here. One, on the 2025 spring election, we had a really significant turnout with 3,677 voters. The prior 2003 election, when we had a Supreme Court race, in that race, we had 2,650 votes cast in the Supreme Court race, so that's a good approximation in terms of number of actual voters. So had about 1,000 person increase in voters this spring. So it was definitely caught us off guard. And I just want to commend Amber for doing a great job with her first election in terms of having to fill in for the city clerk, who's both fortunately and unfortunately on maternity leave. So thank you, Amber, for doing a great job on that. And I do want to thank Matt and two of the DPW crew for an impromptu traffic control out in the parking lot as things picked up around 4 o'clock. So thank you to Matt and Eric and Mike for that. And I don't know, Amber, do you have anything you want to add about the election? No. You could, because you don't have a microphone, but just want to remind her about the open book is scheduled for property assessments is April 14th from 10 a.m. to noon, and then the Board of Review is May 21st from 5:30 to 7:30. The Joint Review Board met last week and did approve creating tax increment district number 5, and this is in support of a new single-family subdivision, Sugar Creek Ridge Homes, so that got approved, which is the final step in that process. And then we're working on the Centralia Water Treatment Plant Reservoir Bypass Project. That is nearing completion. I know our water superintendent here is in the audience, but they did run into one unfortunate leak here at the end, which is going to require a change order, which you will see at the next council meeting. But they're looking to get that done ASAP and then get the plant back operational probably in the next 10 days, hopefully, 2 weeks. And I do want to thank Nate for his work on that. Nate just started with us about a month ago, and he came in having to get caught up to speed on that project, and thanks to Nate for that. And then lastly, just a reminder that the interviews for the Alderman District number 6 vacancy are going to be on April 15th, right after the organizational meeting at 5:30. So it was, we received letters from five residents. So those candidates have been notified and contacted, and like I said, 5:30 on April 15th.
Which is a Tuesday.
Which is a Tuesday, yeah. And that's it for me, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Moving on to unfinished business. We've got discussion and possible decision regarding sidewalks on 2025 Westward Drive reconstruction project. Who would like to start this?
I think we should defer to Alderman Harvey, it's his district.
So I'd like to make a motion that the Westward Drive project goes through as planned with sidewalks.
I'll second. Did he clarify, did you say with?
With sidewalks, yes.
Okay.
We've got a motion and a second, so any discussion?
Mr. Harvey, can I ask, with 29 people saying that they don't want them,
Yeah.
what's driving this? What's driving this?
So, the city standard is that when we redo a road, we put sidewalks. The city's made a strong commitment to sidewalks. There was other key factors in this project, the width of the road, just control speed. But above all, it comes down to safety of pedestrians and kids. I've talked to a number of people down there, I've heard their concerns about their driveways, and I really believe that it comes down to safety of pedestrians and kids.
No.
So we'll have order in place. We don't need comments.
I would say 78% of the people that were asked said no. I think that's something that we should be paying really close attention to.
Yeah. Thank you.
From a statistical standpoint, I don't understand, even with the safety, that they're concerned with their properties, with their trees. I mean, what about the beautification of the, you know, we wanna talk about the benefits. What about all the trees? You know, all the trees that would have to come out and, no.
We went through this with, West Lawn Drive about 5, 6 years ago, when we redid that. Does anyone know, is that about right, 5, 6 years? And we first planned it with sidewalks. Then we got pushback from some older residents that didn't wanna maintain them. There were some trees coming out. And so we reversed our decision. Then we got pushback from younger parents at the next meeting that said it's a safety concern, our kids are walking down the street to get to the bus stop. So then we came up with a we built it with sidewalks, we came up with a standard, and we also added that the city will pay for those sidewalks when we add them in, not the residents on that particular street. And I believe that's our intention on this plan. Is that right, Matt?
Correct.
So there's a reason you have a standard. Not everybody likes it, I get that, and it's a hardship for some, but I have sidewalks in front of my house, and my driveway is shorter because of it. It's just the way it is, and you talk about safety, it only takes one kid to get hurt. So, that's where I stand.
So I'm gonna be kicked out of my house due to sidewalks?
Yes, not a public hearing. And the other thing I wanted to clear up too, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong on this, I believe those sidewalks are gonna be built on city property. Is that true?
Yeah, they'll be in the public right away.
Okay. so-
9.5 feet,
Yes,
that's 9.5 feet, that's public property from the curb.
that's public property, and so, you know, just clear it up. We're calling the question. Yes, Mayor.
Yeah, you guys can shovel them.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
No.
Scott McClory,
No.
Kurt Hartnett.
No.
The motion fails.
I'd like to make a motion to proceed with the 2025 Westward Drive reconstruction without sidewalks.
I second it.
We've got a motion and a second. Did we second?
Yes,
Kurt,
sir.
second? Any discussion? I think another question we heard was, how much is this gonna save the city?
We're still, we had Kapoor run an estimate, we've had discussions with our contractor. You know, it would affect the mobilization for the contractor that has the flat work to be the sidewalk and also the curb and gutter. So we'll have to negotiate a little bit, but Kapoor estimated around 125,000 roughly.
Okay, thank you.
And I
Anyone
just
else?
wanted to clarify one other thing, not that it matters, but we still will need to take down some trees. We might save some, but there's under drain and then with the curb and gutter, there's some trees that will still likely come down. We'll have to sort that through once they go through and do the design, redesign on the sidewalk portion.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Roll call vote, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Kurt Hartnett,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Ken Minell.
No.
The motion passes. So we move on to item B, discussion and possible decision regarding proposed ordinance number 2025-07, an ordinance amending the city's regulation of animals within city limits by repealing city code sections 9.07, 9.15, 11.14, and 12.046 through 11, and replacing them with the new city code section 9.07 titled Regulation of Animals Within City Limits. This is the second reading.
Correct. I just want to say thank you to the staff that provided all the information for us to clearly understand what changed. Thank you.
That was a handful.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any comments? All in favor? Oh, you have the.
Sorry to interject here. I know Tim, I think Tim, after looking at what was on the agenda last week and had been, after the first reading, had a couple additional changes that he wanted made. So
Sure, there's just some typos. A 9.07 sub 3, the first paragraph where it says and or, it should say and there. As used in this section, running at large includes all situations in which an animal is not on the owner's premises and is not tied up, securely penned, crated, or securely held upon a leash. The other change was a duplication regarding livestock that's prohibited.
Looks like you also got one on page 3. Changing item C, item number 1, from there to his or her.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, thank you. So barking and howling dogs, we had some discussion with the city administrator about how to handle that. The way it's written right now, it says any person owning, possessing, or harboring a dog shall prevent such dog from barking or howling in the city. Some of our other clients talk about habitual barking or howling, and then you get into situations where how do you prevent a situation where you have one neighbor who's maybe real sensitive to barking, making the complaint, and some communities actually have a process where you require more than one neighbor to sign a written complaint about a habitual barking or howling dog. I just point that out because the way it's written right now, you still need a complaint. It just doesn't require anything in writing. It could just be somebody calling. And those take up some time and usually requires the officer to actually attend and the premises and see it for him or herself. So sometimes it's nice to add those provisions, but those are currently not in the one that you're acting on. The duplication I was referring to is in 9.07 sub 11, where it says livestock prohibited. That should come out because livestock is addressed up above in 9.07 sub 10. And that's it.
All right, so I have a question here. Let's go back to the barking dogs. So what has been rewritten still doesn't cover what you had mentioned.
Correct.
So when we're making these additional changes, why don't we add that in where you have to have more than one person complain? Because that is one of my concerns for sure.
I mean, because the way it's written right now, if I have a dog and it barks, someone could complain.
Right.
So I think it's, we all understand what we're getting at. We're talking about habitual problem.
Correct.
But then it comes down to enforcement, and you don't want to have your police department having to make, calls, to try and prove that the dog's been habitually barking. The process, it puts neighbors sometimes in an uneasy position, and I think that was the concern that was raised by staff, in that neighbors are going to have to sign a complaint that says, we tried, and but you need more than one neighbor, because just in case you have someone that's overly sensitive, you get a couple neighbors that say it's all happening, it happens all the time, we've talked to our neighbor.
So I'd like to amend my motion to say we should update this to have more than one complaint filed.
I respectfully disagree. Depending on the way the wind's blowing and which window is open on that house, it could be facing one resident, one neighbor. And if they're not gonna do anything unless two people complain, that's not fair to the one person whose dog or cat is facing that direction and bark in that direction. So I don't think you should require, respectfully, I don't think we should require two people to complain. Considering in all the years I've been an alderman, I think I've had one time where someone is actually willing to give me their name. They always call me and say, you didn't hear from me, I want it to be kept anonymous, and that's the way I report it to the police. So to try to get two people to sign on the dotted line and complain against their neighbor who they were barbecuing with the night before just ain't gonna happen. So I'm not in favor of requiring two residences to complain.
And
Respectfully.
I understand.
Yeah.
My concern is, someone's got a beef, I'll use that term,
Okay.
with their neighbor, and they're just looking for a reason That's my concern, and I know we talked about this at the last one, but, you know, if we're going through and making the changes, and you brought it up, otherwise we never would have talked about it.
I should have brought it up, but I thought, you know, it's just something I wanted at least a discussion on, regardless of which way you go. You can still have, you could have a one person making a complaint, that's not a problem. It's just that when it comes time to prove it up at the municipal court level, you know, it would be helpful if that person who's complaining was able to bring in other neighbors that are having the same problem, because then you'll get around that proof issue about, is this really a problem that we need to be worried about issuing citations for, or is this just one neighbor who's overly sensitive? So you have those, you know, types of frictions going on when you try to prove it up.
Well, in a court of law, don't you have to have the right to have your accusers be there? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're gonna give me a ticket,
We'd
and
have to
the
prove it
people,
up.
and nobody's gonna man up to do it?
Yep.
Come on.
You'd have to prove it up. So that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes if you don't have that, then now you've got your police department running out there to see if, we've got audio and video of the dog barking, and it's not a great use of your police department's time.
Well, I agree.
Well, I'm gonna put Captain Brandel on the spot if I can, just for a minute. I want to defer to you and hear your interpretation of the way it's written now and how you guys go about investigating these. My understanding is that you all show up, turn your body camera on, and then listen and watch and see if in fact you're picking up the same thing as the alleged complainant is throwing down, if I may.
That'd be part of our investigation, absolutely, is we go in there and see if we can hear the same barking or if it's taken care of. Obviously, we have discretion, so typically when on a first offense going out there, probably not gonna write a ticket, we're gonna talk to the homeowner until you can correct the problem. And it may not be a second offense, maybe a couple times before we would issue a citation. But yeah, we'd obviously wanna go there and hopefully hear this dog barking, hear that it's a nuisance and causing a disturbance to the resident that's calling.
Well, don't come by my house at 7:30 or 3:30 in the afternoon, because, I mean, I live right by the West Side Elementary, and I've got families and kids walking their dogs by, and my dog barks for at least 20 minutes in both of those times. I mean, you know, there's that situation too, where it's like, you know, as soon as everybody's gone, he's not barking, but I don't know what people are.
Put on the back, and no one making a complaint, we don't have.
Well, no, but I mean,
Noise is being made.
Not today, but say tomorrow, a new neighbor moves in next to him and says, hey, every day from 7:30 to 7:40 and 3:30 to 3:50, and I'm trying to sleep, I work second shift, I work third shift or whatever, it could be an issue.
So, I was just gonna read the language that we had sent over, so you would know what we'd be putting in here. It shall be unlawful for any person knowingly to keep or harbor any dog which habitually barks, howls, or yelps, or any cat which habitually cries or howls, to the great discomfort of the peace and quiet of the neighborhood, or in such a manner as to materially disturb or annoy persons in the neighborhood who are of ordinary sensibilities. Such dogs and cats are hereby declared to be a public nuisance. A dog or cat is considered to be in violation of this section when 2 formal written complaints are filed with the village police, this is the village I took it from, police department within a 4-week period.
But that last part was left off of this.
Okay, I didn't know that you had received that. Okay.
Yeah.
Great, I didn't see it in my packet.
Yeah.
Well, they just handed it to us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What you gave us stops with public nuisance, doesn't talk about second complaints and all that other stuff you mentioned.
Yeah.
Well, and just for clarification, the language I handed out is what was sent to me by Rebecca, who had.
After discussion
Yeah,
with you, right?
yeah,
Okay.
so.
Don't you think it'd be tough to get a written complaint? To Scott's point, most people don't give a written complaint.
I think most dog owners are, you know, are aware of it. I mean, I'm sure there's other dog owners in the room. I mean, you know, when the dog's barking, you know it's upsetting other people.
Well, that's great if you're home and you can do something about it, but
That's
if you
true.
leave
That's
and
true.
your dog barks as soon as you leave your residence, which some dogs have anxiety of that kind of thing. And again, it's different if it's winter. It's different if it's summer and the AC's run. It's different in the spring when all your windows are open. And the time of day affects this, you know? And like to your point, not everybody works banker's hours. You know, I did 13 years at the sheriff's office on third shift. 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, my neighbors are out cutting grass and doing whatever they do at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, because that's regular hours for them. So we gotta be, you know, receptive to that as well.
Correct.
For clarification, I spoke against the two, if I'm gonna use my words, not yours, the two-person strike rule to your amendment, so I'm confused now where we are in the motion. Because he said he wanted to amend his motion to include 2 people, and I said no to that, so was there a second to that?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's a second.
Okay.
There is, so we shouldn't be talking.
Well,
about
that's why,
that.
I apologize, so.
Second.
So as it stands now, we need 2 people to complain, otherwise the police aren't coming out.
No,
Two residences.
Not issue a citation.
I'm not tracking you anymore.
What is the wording again that you had with where it said village?
That's not in the ordinance, that's not what.
No, but that's what he was saying.
Dog or cat is considered to be in violation of this section when 2 formal written complaints are filed with the city police department within a 4-week period.
No one's gonna fill out a formal complaint, they're just not gonna do it.
I mean,
Alan, Captain Brandel knows better than anybody, it's not
I
gonna
agree,
be.
most people don't go,
Yeah.
they wanna call and check.
and I guess
It
it,
does say in here, it's habitual, so I mean, first, second offense, probably not gonna be taken regardless. Again, we'll use our discretion, but if the owner's trying to be reasonable and trying to accommodate and trying to keep the dog in a quiet area, you know, we'll try and work with them to mitigate the issue and mediate it with the neighbors.
I think this gives the police department the tools to do their job and use their discretion. I, for one, don't think we need the 2 written complaints. I'd be in favor of passing this as written. So we've got a motion and a second.
That's correct.
Any further discussion?
That requires the 2 written complaints.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yeah.
Scott McClory,
No.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Kurt Hartnett.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, so now I have a question. And again, I'm gonna defer to Captain Brandel. Now that it requires 2 different residences to file written complaints, we're gonna have to create a form, we're gonna have to create a policy, we're gonna have to have an established procedure of how these people fill out the form. Does it go to their alderman, does it go to their PD or their community service officer? And now this has to be written to include that, and it has to say within a 4-week period. Correct?
so just a point of order. So right now you just approved the amendments. You still have to vote on it as amended. Right? Because the original motion was to adopt the ordinance, and then there was an amendment, and then you're voting now on the amendment, and that amendment was now approved. So you need one more vote to approve the ordinance as amended. So just to clarify, you haven't actually adopted it yet. You approved the amendment to the motion to approve the ordinance.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, keep us on the straight and narrow. So we need a motion to approve the ordinance as amended.
As amended, right.
So we're discussing it first?
I think you gotta have a motion in the second, again,
Another,
right?
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve with the amended approved.
I mean, I think it's, you already amended it, so it's a motion to approve the, so you can kind of just run it through the.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
yes. Thank you. Because Mr. McCrary brings up some good points here. I mean, it's extra work for the police. I'm looking at this and trying to, on my end, try to figure out how could this be enforced. I mean, because everybody wants the best out of the situation. I mean, there are pets. I wonder if, because it says habitually. Now, habitually is not defined. I'm wondering if it was possible to say habitually is. We've gotten 2 phone calls, the police department has gotten 2 phone calls within 4 weeks of the same dog barking. That considers habitual, then it gets looked at. Otherwise, we have to have 2 people to do it. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to see, I see the problem he's bringing up, and I understand the added work and responsibility. Is that a way to shortcut it? Where it's still enforceable by us defining the word habitual. So it qualifies,
Well, according to the attorney, habitual is 2 or more complaints within a 4-week period. That's habitual.
So that to enforce this ordinance, you need the 2 written complaints. But it doesn't stop the police department from going out on a call that says this dog is constantly barking. It's driving us crazy. We know it's a problem in the neighborhood. And they go out and they talk to the neighbor and say, this has been brought to our attention. So just so you know, so maybe take some steps, maybe close that window, put the air on, when you're gone. And then it maintains, the problem continues, and the neighbors say it's still happening. And I think the response is, we can't write a citation unless we get complaints from 2 neighbors. And it has to be written, and there's a form on our website that you click on, and you have to sign, and you're gonna have to agree to come in and testify at municipal court level. And before.
That just goes against what we just put in writing. You said you need 2 people to file written complaints, but then you said he can come out whenever he wants and say, this is ridiculous, it's barking like crazy, I don't need the 2 written complaints.
No, that's just to write a citation.
to address the first,
Right.
you're saying to address the problem.
Right, so you can still try to address problems in your community without writing tickets. You can still make the contacts and say, this is a problem, you need to take steps to address it. I'm not writing your ticket now, and hopefully the problem's resolved. So it's not like the police department can't go out there unless you get the 2 written complaints.
But they need the 2 written complaints before they can write a citation.
Right.
Okay, I get it.
Well, I strongly encourage Captain Brandel and the police department to show us a draft of this new policy and procedure before it goes on the books, respectfully, to see exactly what your men and women are gonna be told are the chronological steps to how do we handle this.
We'll have to look into it, because this is not what I was prepared for tonight.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Captain, I just think we just need, because people are gonna ask us, I read in the paper, or I saw your video online, what does that mean to me as the lay citizen who wasn't present that night? And we're gonna need a procedure or a policy to refer them to.
So you would like to see that before this ordinance is passed? Is that what you just said?
You're to the vote stage.
We still have to vote. Is that what you're saying, that would be useful information?
I think it would be, I think it would be smart if we pass it tonight, as soon as he walks out of here and somebody calls, well, I heard about that new ordinance from my alderman, I want to be number 1, how do I fill out the form? Well, it's not even we don't even have the form yet. So yes, I think we should pump the brakes a little bit on this before we go forward with it. If this is the new policy that we're gonna enact, a new ordinance we're gonna try to support as aldermen.
Yeah, well, I don't think this is a real timely issue. We've been without it for a few decades, so. But we do need to vote on the motion, which was to pass the ordinance with the amended ordinance.
Correct.
So, any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
No.
Scott McClory,
No.
Kurt Hartnett.
No.
So the
The
motion fails. Do we need to procedurally bring this back somehow?
I think staff has direction in terms of what's needed to bring it back for another consideration.
All right, good enough. We're gonna move on to new business, and you folks have been very patient. We got another whole page here. Anyone is more than welcome to stay, but if you'd like to file out, if you've heard enough of city business, you can do that also.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
At least they listened kind of. Not at first, they didn't.
Good call, Adam.
What happened?
4 days ago.
Walnut
Walnut is still here.
Done to kick you out there.
Right?
Oh, yeah, I'm getting a double B replacement
You need this?
in like November.
Use the
Is this
double
you?
wide up there.
No money in there anyway.
That's what he said before.
Moving on to new business, we've got discussion and possible decision regarding proposed resolution number 2025-09, resolution declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures from proceeds of borrowing. Angela?
Either me or Corey. Corey, do you want to jump in on this one?
And if you want me to, sure. This is basically a resolution in order to start paying some bills on a project coming up that until we get to the borrowing, this will be able to reimburse ourselves for it with the money that we borrow. And this was for water projects.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-09.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion, any questions? Since it's money, roll call, please.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Kurt Hartnett.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item, we've got discussion of possible decision regarding proposed contract with Fourth Infrastructure and Environment to update the 2022 existing water supply and storage analysis to incorporate future water capacity projections and to create system-wide hydraulic model, a system-wide hydraulic model for a cost of up to $56,600.
Move to approve.
A motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Kurt Hartnett.
Yes.
We've got discussion and possible decision, I should say the motion passed. And then we've got discussion and possible decision regarding proposed reimbursement agreement between American Transmission Company LLC and the city for cost of undergrounding of certain electric distribution facilities owned and operated by the city.
So basically, whatever we spend, we're reimbursed, from what I read, correct?
Correct.
I make a motion to approve.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Got discussion and possible decision regarding consent for Mass Memorial Library to be represented by Pruitt Eckes, I never say that right, and Gary, with regard to legal matters.
I make a motion to approve that.
Isn't it Eeks?
Ickes.
Hey, there we go. I never knew that.
I know, we tease her too with the mispronunciation.
We've got a motion and a second. Any questions?
I just want to say it works out well if we end up going against each other, that they step out altogether, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We've got discussion and possible decision regarding accepting a bid from Wanasek Corporation for the 2025 street improvement projects at a total of $2,167,539 for the Westward Drive project. Also Westward Drive, 29 Red Maples for a cost of $21,750. And the 2025 Commerce Court, Seymour Court, and George Martin Way repaving project at a cost of $404,303, and the Pheasant Way retaining wall cost of $60,521. I did not quote an amount on the first item because I believe that changed tonight. They have a cost down here of $1,680,965 for Westward Drive. So that number is probably not accurate. Is that right?
I think is what we'll do is we'll come back with a change order once we remove the sidewalk. So you can approve it as is. and
That makes a lot of sense. Let's not delay that.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion, second, any discussion?
Yeah, so we've got a couple alternates. We talked a little bit, we had them do an alternate for concrete pavement, or actually it's two, we have asphalt or concrete. The difference between the two, I believe, is close to 150,000. Kapoor, with inside the packet, you'll see prepared a memo that discusses, it does like a cost benefit analysis, and their recommendation is doing asphalt versus concrete because of the price difference and just longevity and overall maintenance. So if you guys are choosing all alternates, that's fine, but we would need a decision, and I'm glad that you are, between asphalt and concrete.
So I will amend my motion. I saw that in the packet too, that asphalt would be the most economical way to go. So I'm amending to asphalt.
And I'll amend my second. I think if I'm tracking Matt, the difference is 157, 235? That's what it shows, that's what it shows here, change concrete to asphalt.
Today's cost, yes.
Okay. Yep.
Any other questions? Everybody's comfortable keeping all four of these items together?
Yes.
May I interject real fast?
Sure.
The one thing of note, the 29 red maples are a supplemental item. They are not included in the contract price initially. Those are to be added after the fact, so the cost would not be the $2,167,539, and it instead would be $2,145,789, and that cost would be added on at a later date. That would be the contract price.
So this.
Trees are all gonna change though now that
Correct.
the roads.
Those were not included as
I
part
know,
of the
but
bid.
there might be less trees we're putting in now, because we're not taking on as many trees for sidewalks and stuff like that. I mean, it's all kind of in flux, right?
I would think so. So I
That
should do a
would be
change
part- that would
order.
be- Yeah, I was gonna say, that's part of the potential change order anyway, so.
Well, those items were kept separate as a contingency effectively. They did not affect the contract price that they bid. I just want to make that clear.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Can we get a roll call, please?
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Kurt Hartnett.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item, we've got discussion and possible decision regarding proposed task order number 29 with Kapoor and Associates to provide construction engineering services for the 2025 street improvement projects at a cost not to exceed $179,630.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and second, any discussion?
Only, just want to let you know, that when the chart that you're looking at, in terms of the total budgeted amount, included engineering design and construction engineering. So that is everything in, so just wanted to make that clear if you're looking at how that price compares to the construction price you just approved. And it is taking into account you approving the construction engineering, construction design that has already been done.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Kurt Hartnett.
Yes.
Motion passes. We've got discussion and possible decision regarding cancellation agreement and mutual release for, I'm gonna murder this name, Broyne Land Development's 2024 offer to purchase 67 acres of city property. And everyone can see the tax parcels.
Didn't it say in there that they might be open to an extension?
Yeah, they did say that they would be open to it. Obviously, they'd have to come back and we'd have to get a proposed, offer from them to do that. But they are open to it. So if that's something you want me to, request from them, I could do that.
But they would have to initiate that.
They would, yeah.
This temporarily is closing the door from the city side.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
so they just want to wrap it up for now, and if they can always reopen it later.
Yes.
Thank you for the explanation. I was going to ask the same question.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and cancel. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We've got discussion and possible decision regarding proposed revisions to the fire department job descriptions and creation of a new lieutenant position.
All right, so I have a few job descriptions this evening. The chief and I have been working on. When the department moved from being a paid on-call department to a full-time department, descriptions unfortunately were never created at that time. So we did have a job posting, but not explicit descriptions outlining what the essential duties are, minimum qualifications, things like that. So we've been working on putting these together. I have 3 for you this evening. I am going to ask for the paramedic only one to be pulled, as we're working through some things with that position right now. But the firefighter, paramedic, and the fire lieutenant is a new role we're introducing. Right now, the chief has 3 shift leads, so he has a shift lead on each shift that kind of oversees the department. A shift lead isn't a role that's generally recognized by other fire departments. They usually have more officer-type titles. So we're looking to remove the shift lead and replace that with this lieutenant position. As far as the role, the pay would be the same because they're on the same step as the shift lead, so it's really just a replacement there. Chief, I don't know if you want to speak more to the lieutenant.
Yes, ma'am. Lieutenant, so as far as MABUS goes, when we go to a MABUS call, which is multiple fire departments, we go into another jurisdiction. Per MABUS rules, if we send an apparatus to another fire, there has to be an officer on that truck. That's the way MABUS rules are written. And right now, shift lead, it's got to be a lieutenant or a captain on the truck. So it's just moving more in line with industry standards, which is a lieutenant position.
So the intention would be that Chief has created a testing process that internal candidates would go through. Any of our current shift leads, if for some reason they didn't make it through this process, they would fall in line as far as their position with the certifications and experience that they have. They would go to the closest position that meets their criteria. So open to any questions with that.
Is there any kind of change in responsibilities? Because, I mean, or it's just really a name change?
It's pretty much just a name change, and it's just following along with MABUS rules.
Okay.
So would there actually be an open competition for it, or would the current shift leads just get reclassified to lieutenant?
I'm going to open it up and let them test for it.
Okay. And you're only doing it with internals versus including externals because?
I was just planning on doing it with current internal candidates.
Right, but say all current 5 shift leads don't pass the test, then we're going to have no choice but to open it up.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not just a reclassification of the shift leads. You're still going to have to earn your spot to go from shift lead to potential lieutenant.
Correct.
Okay, fair enough.
I make a motion to approve that changes.
I'll second.
Good motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We've got discussion and possible decision regarding request from the fire department to purchase 3 mechanical compression devices for $70,806.09. Chief, can you fill us in on this one?
Yes, sir. So currently we're using what's called an auto pulse. outdated at best. Batteries, to replace a battery, it's 11, I think I included in the packet, it's $1,104. So on this, it looks like a mini backboard, and it requires a band that goes on it. They work about 50% of the time at best, and every time you use a band, you're replacing it. Lucas devices, they're about 19,000 apiece. We get some trade-in value on the old auto pulses that we have, and it has a suction cup, which can be cleaned, or if it can't be cleaned, we can do one-for-one exchanges at the hospital, and it also includes a 5-year maintenance pro plan through Stryker with each unit. So it's just up-to-date equipment, and it is pretty much what almost every fire department across the nation is using for mechanical compression devices, our Lucas devices.
So, it sounds great, just want to make sure, how we gonna pay for it? Is it covered? from the
FAP
budget?
funding is where I was, but I'm gonna last I heard was, I thought we were in FAP funding, but some of the money was pulled out of FAP funding for an ambulance, which, yeah, I'll let Adam speak on that one.
Yeah, so we had, the compression devices that the chief has mentioned, we had budgeted to buy 2 of them in '26, 1 in '27, and 1 in '28. And the FAP funding, 30,000 of the 70,000 had been budgeted to help pay for the ambulance that was ordered back in '24, was carried forward to '25, and unfortunately, it sounds like it's gonna be a '26 delivery now. So 30 of that 70 was already spoken for to help pay for the ambulance that was previously ordered in the past. So that's where we're at.
So we're able to pay it.
We're able to pay.
We're able to cover what we need to cover for now? No. I got her head shaking, no.
Yeah, no, I'm saying there is not 70,000 in this grant funding available right now to pay for the 3 Lucas devices, because 30 of the 70 is already budgeted to pay for an ambulance.
Okay, so how are we gonna pay for it? It's something that we've gotta have. How are we gonna pay for it?
What's left in FAP funding, total?
You'd have 42,000-ish, 40,000.
After this, because I thought we had about 108 or 118.
30, some of that is reserved for training. You have to spend on training.
So it looks like we're back to the get one in 25, 26, 27, not 3 and 25.
You could definitely get 2 this year if you wanted to. You could get potentially 3 if, I know the fire department sold the apparatus and had some excess from those apparatus, chief, that you ordered, or not ordered, but you received 9,000 for the aerial ladder truck, 22,000 for the equipment truck, so that's 31,000. And you have a proposal tonight to buy, two trailers for about 13,000, so that should give you about $20,000 extra.
I had upfitting of trailers too, and I don't know what that is yet. These are just getting the 2 trailers. The open trailer shouldn't be much. It should be a box with some fire brooms, rakes, whatever, for wildland firefighting. The other one was going to be an equipment trailer / a cascade trailer. So that I have not gotten prices on yet. These are just the trailers.
Well, then, how about if we buy 1 compression device now and the trailer and outfit the trailer, and then you can always come back to us and say, hey, I met with Corey and we still have X amount of thousand left. Let's get another compression device before we go over.
We should be good on 2 devices with
2?
what's left.
Including, and enough money to do the trailer and outfit the trailer?
Pretty sure, sir, yes. I would have to look at what we have for mechanical devices. I had the breakdown on the sheet that I included in the packet, but we should be able to get 2 of them with the ProCare for around that 46,000.
That's correct, yeah, we can get the 2 now and have the grant funding to pay for it, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, the guarantees on this take care
my,
of it.
my question is, Chief, are these on the ambulances? Is that where there's
Yes, sir.
devices carried?
It's where they currently go right now, one on each of the frontline ambulances, and then what we've been running as a model is the engine's been chasing for the second call, if we need extra manpower. So our first out, the way our operational plan's set up, first out ambulance has to have a paramedic on it, second out has to have an advanced EMT, the third out can be a basic unit. So if that second unit goes out, usually they're chasing them with an engine if it's a cardiac or a respiratory call, which usually
Two would
2 for
do the
sure,
job.
that third one would have been going on an engine for right now.
So So would you be putting one of the old units on the engine as a backup?
For right now, until we can get a new one. Because right now, I only currently have 2 batteries that operate. And I wasn't, until we found out what, tonight an answer, I wasn't gonna spend $1,100 on a battery.
Understand.
Are you gonna have to buy batteries? Do you see yourself buying batteries?
That's all covered under ProCare.
No, I mean batteries for the old one that you're putting on every engine.
If we have 2 good batteries, I'll just trade in the other 2 with the bad batteries.
Well, since the items are listed separately, not to make the waters too muddy, let's go ahead and, I'll go ahead and, just to answer the question about letter I, I'll authorize 2 mechanical compression devices at this time.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. The dollar amount is to be determined to get the exact amount, but we all understand we're ordering 2 devices.
Correct.
So any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Kurt Hartnett.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. We've got a discussion and possible decision regarding request from the fire department to purchase 2 trailers, one enclosed, one open, for a total cost of $13,075. I think we've already discussed what they are.
So, question, Chief,
Yes, sir.
did you look at weight limitations, what they're gonna be and what we might need in the future? So we
Yes,
don't-
sir.
So we have growth?
Yes, we have growth. It's 2 3,500-pound axles. The unit itself is just shy of 3,000 pounds. So there's room for movement.
It's 2 ton.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
I make a motion to approve the fire department going ahead with purchase and outfitting of the 2 trailers.
Second.
Well, okay. Mike, just to clarify, the item before us is to purchase the trailers, not outfit them. This says purchase 2 trailers for a total cost of $13,075. So until we know, unless you can give us some guesstimate from the chief, how much it's gonna cost to outfit them, I don't know how we can vote on it. Right now, we're only voting to buy the trailers.
Right.
Am I misunderstanding?
No,
Okay,
I see
okay.
the same thing.
Good point.
Would outfitting the trailers come in your operational budget? I mean, that's just putting equipment on any rate, isn't it?
What we had planned on doing was using monies from the sale of the 2 trucks, but I will come back with quotes. Because I don't know what I need yet.
Okay, I'm good then.
So it's just to purchase them, not outfit?
No, well, yes, you do, because you said just to outfit.
Purchase.
Purchase, I make a motion for the fire department to purchase the 2 trailers.
Second.
Sorry, man.
Well, it's okay.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Robertson.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Kurt Hartnett,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Ken Minell.
Yes.
Motion passes. We've got discussion and possible decision regarding proposed ordinance number 2025-11 and ordinance to approve the planned unit development overlay district and general development plan for Sugar Creek Ridge Homes, a residential development located at tax key YUNW00058. Who's got this one?
I guess I'll just start off by saying I do see Brian Lindgren here. I feel bad, Brian. I did not know you were coming to this meeting because we would not put this at the last very end of the entire meeting, so I apologize for that. But this is the GDP that was approved by the Planning Commission at the last Planning Commission meeting. As I mentioned in my memo, to Newman Development's credit, they did make some changes that had been requested by the Planning Commission, including trying to make the lots 1 through 4, which are back up to Gerard Street, or back up to the homes that are on Gerard Street. So they agreed to line those, make those line up. They agreed to include an area for recreational equipment. And then probably the biggest thing was trying to allow for potential road extension of West Lawn, to provide the connection that was shown in the comp plan. So those were some of the big changes that they agreed to make. They did also take out the potential lots of the school district. You know, we've been planning on potentially about 13 or so lots being sold from the, sold by the school to the developer. The school does not seem like they want to sell that land, so that those lots have been taken out of the site plan for right now. They could get added back in the future should the school district decide to sell that land. So those are some of the changes the developer made. I don't know, Alderman Minell, if you have anything to add about.
Yeah, I think that our zoning person, Allison, and our city engineer were satisfied with the changes that we talked about at the meeting. I think it's time to move forward, get this on the road. I would make a motion to do so.
And Matt, I don't know if you want to, I just emailed you the.
We need a second first.
I'm sorry.
Get a second.
Second. Just like a designated hitter, he's like a designated second. I like it. I like it.
So you had a question for Matt?
Not so much a question, I just was gonna say, if you want to look at anything, the images, the site plan layout, is at the very end, Matt.
I've received the updated packet from you. When did you send it? Just moments ago?
Yeah, well, a couple minutes ago.
It hasn't come, it's, links come through yet. The only thing I have is the packet.
Okay, well, unfortunately, the updated packet that the council got, I don't think was sent to you. That's why I was trying to forward it to you. But anyway, if the council, if you saw it in the council packet that you guys got, there it is, Matt. Yep.
It's sideways, but,
Everyone tilts your head.
Yeah, we had a few of the homeowners in the area that were at the planning commission meeting, and they had some questions and their opinions, but I think they were answered very well. You know, I mean, like I said, it's gonna happen, so they were a little bit worried about the construction, you know, where the vehicles would, what roads or streets they would take while they're doing the building. And those questions were all answered.
And the only other thing was just that, you know, obviously some of the more specifics about grading and that kind of stuff are gonna have to be discussed in the actual specific implementation plan. So, this is more of a, as it sounds, the general part of the plan, so more details to follow.
Okay, any further discussion? We've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. So, there you go. Lastly, in new business, we've got discussion regarding civic liability dividends from 2008 to 2021. Adam, can you give us a quick explanation of that?
Yeah, and this isn't really, no action is needed. I just wanted you guys to be aware, we got contacted by Sidnick about a month or so ago, giving us notice that they were gonna be sending us this refund that they couldn't give us the final number until about a week ago, but pretty much every year the city typically would get a liability dividend from Sidnick, and so they had been keeping those from 2008 to 2021, so they recently told us that they were returning that to us, and so the total is $213,087.03. That is going to be split among each of the funds that had to pay towards the city's liability insurance. So general fund and library, EMS, sewer, water, and electric are the funds that contributed. So the breakdown's in your packet. So just wanted you to be aware of it if you had any questions, because it's obviously a significant amount of money.
Did we get interest on all this?
Yes, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's
As a result of an investment.
yeah.
And historically, we've opted, although we don't have to continue this practice, you know, historically, we've opted to roll that back in and let them, you know, basically reinvest it almost like a stock portfolio versus pulling out the money. And I know Kenny was involved in a couple of those discussions in previous years. I'm curious why it only went to 2021. Why isn't it through 2024?
Because since 2021, we've been getting annually, they've been sending us the annual
I did not know
amount. And so
Okay.
we, like I said, weren't aware that they had kept so many years in the past. But they said that they are pretty much moving on from that practice and want us just to take our money, so,
So we have no choice but to take it.
yes.
Oh, that's new.
Take your money, I'll take
Yeah,
it.
take your money.
Bring it back.
Okay. Well, appreciate it.
All right, we can move on to closed session before we get a motion.
Oh, good Lord, I'm going
This, the common council may entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute sections 19.851C to consider employment or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Two items to process, conduct an annual review of the city administrator and the fire department survey. Common council also may entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851G to confer with legal counsel for the governmental body whose written oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is likely to be involved, which is our contract between Waste Management and the city regarding garbage collection fees charged to the city in 2023. So I have a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Before you vote on that, just a point of, so I just need clarification. The closed session for the process for conducting an annual review of a city administrator, if you're just talking about process, you're not going to get into, you're not going to be talking about performance issues or talking about any specifics about the city administrator. Normally, the process of doing something is an open session item. So if that's true, if that's what you're going to be talking about is how you're going to conduct the performance review, you're not going to actually do any reviewing, that would be something you do in an open session.
So when we come back to open session, could we discuss it right there?
You can discuss it right now before you go into close, because it's noticed up on your agenda, and then go into close to take up everything else.
I've also included his review from last year for them to look at, so that includes his performance.
Oh, okay, so there will be some
Yeah,
possible
that's,
discussion.
I replied to Lane's email.
Oh, you did?
Explaining this, yeah, that we understand from a process perspective that the process discussion needs to be an open session, but I knew that Casey had information from last year.
Okay.
To the extent that the council wanted to discuss any performance-related matters that would, impact how they recommend the process, then that should also be discussed.
Okay. So, yeah, that's right, I understand. Okay, good.
So roll. You gotta go roll. Do we have a motion? Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And a second.
Yep.
Okay, roll call vote.
Gary Payton Jr.
Yes.
Kurt Hartman.
Yes.
Peter Harvey.
Yes.
Scott McClory. Ken Minell.
Yes.
We're back into open session. We had 3 items in closed session. The first one was a discussion of possible decision regarding the process for conducting the annual review of the city administrator. We decided to follow the same process we used last year, a survey of the elected officials and the administrative staff, department heads, and after reviewing that, we'd like the city administrator to meet with the mayor and the council president. And if an issue arises where either the administrator or the council president or the mayor feel that Adam should come in front of the full council, we'll do that. But so I think that's a fair description of the process. The second item is a discussion we had about the fire department survey, which was very good, chief. A lot of good information, but no action is being taken on that. And then the last item is a discussion of possible decision regarding legal action against Waste Management resulting from the residential garbage collection fees charged to the city in 2023. And do we have a motion for that?
To have the city attorney go ahead and continue to work on resolving this issue, getting into it further to get a resolution, is my motion. Does that work?
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
Do we have a second? Okay, Kurt, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.